All right, everyone, we're going to get started here. I'll get the Facebook stream up and running in just a moment. But thank you for joining us today for 1 Million Cups Eau Claire. This is a weekly entrepreneurial meetup here in Eau Claire every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. We and millions of others around the country gather together over 1 million cups of coffee to celebrate entrepreneurship and discuss startup businesses. So today we have Emily's Pet Portraits presenting with us, and she is going to share about her business that is fully on Instagram, I believe. So I'll turn it over to Emily and let her tell you a little bit more about Emily's Pet Portraits.
All right, thank you, Adam. I'm going to now share my screen. This is new to me, so let's see here. All right, can everybody see? Okay, thumbs up. All righty, so welcome to Emily's Pet Portraits. I'm Emily, and I will show you my pet portrait business. Pretty basic. This is me the day I graduated from college, one of the best days of my life. I recently graduated from UW-Stout in December. I graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Entertainment Design, and my concentration was in animation. But my entire life, I have enjoyed illustration as well, hence me drawing copious amounts of animals. So, what my pet portrait business consists of is I digitally paint pet portraits for people, and they're always custom. My business began in the beginning of February this year, and I really didn't mean to start a business, but I actually drew 2 pet portraits for my sister for her birthday. She loves her dogs. And then I was encouraged by her and a few other family members to reach out to more people and see if they wanted some. So I went to Instagram naturally, and people were interested. So it kind of took off from there. It was sort of a domino effect, and now my business, thank goodness, is sort of self-sustaining. And since February, I have had 60 clients, which for me, that's like pretty cool. So Instagram is my business platform that I use, and any new clients that I do receive do come from Instagram. And that is mainly from past clients sharing my work. So it creates a nice feedback loop for me. So this is typically, is my like Zoom presentation in the way? Is that how it works? Okay, just making sure. So this is typically something that'll happen. Someone will repost 2 pet portraits that I did or something like that. And then the message on the right is something that I might get from someone else that they know saying, hey, I saw so-and-so reposted this. Is there any chance that I could get one? So that's sort of how I've been doing my business ever since February. And it's been working. So how my business has worked is I did not limit spots at first, and it was very overwhelming. I mean, I love doing it, but there were just so many requests where I felt like I wasn't able to spend as much time and as much effort on a pet portrait as I wanted to ensure that people were getting, you know, what they paid for and what they wanted. So I began to limit spots. Now I take 10 people's requests per month, so everybody can order up to 3 pet portraits. And if you do the math, that can equal out to like 30 if each person were to order 3. But realistically, I've been getting about 15, which has been very manageable, considering that I do want this to remain like a part-time job. So it's been really good supplemental income for me just graduating from college. So my pricing is pretty basic. I just charge $45 for 1, $60 for 2, and then $75 for 3, and I always charge free shipping. And what people can expect then is an 8.5 by 11 high quality custom pet portrait printed on a glossy, nice, like good quality paper. And they can expect it within 2 to 2.5 weeks after they order it from me. So I'd like to think that that's pretty fast for something custom. And the process from when someone orders is they reach out to me and they say, hey, I want a pet portrait. So then I try and keep it very basic and simple. I ask them for their shipping address. I ask them for their preferred method of payment. So far, it's just been Venmo and PayPal, and I haven't had a problem with that so far. Everybody has had Venmo or PayPal, luckily. And then I ask for a high quality photo of their pet. And then once I have all of that in the works and I'm ready to get it printed, I do outsource for my printing locally. I have a really nice relationship with my printing lady now. I go and see her every week and I love her. So that's another fun component, just sort of getting out and meeting people, you know, because of my business. And then I do ship every portrait as a first class package. And then I provide my client with their tracking number. So I've had clients who lived in apartments and they're like, I don't know when I can pick it up. Can you let me know? So I started giving them the tracking number. That way it's sort of easy for them and they know when to expect it. So typically when I ask someone for a picture to the left, that's something that I will receive, which, I mean, this is like a really cute dog. So I was so excited to do this one. And then on the right, this is me doing my thing in Procreate. After about 1 to 3 hours, depending on how hairy the dog is, I will finish a pet portrait. So that's what it looks like on my end. And then this is the really rewarding part when I receive a photo like this from my client. After they've received it, they send it back to me. So typically someone will repost something like this on Instagram, and then they'll tag me, and then I can repost this to my story and show people, hey, I'm getting business. And then their friends see it and they say, hey, where'd you get that? So that sort of feeds into my feedback loop, which I'm really thankful for. So that's how I've been getting my business. The things that make me different are that I'd like to think that my prices are really reasonable for the quality of portrait that I can provide. It's a relatively quick process from when somebody orders until when they receive their portrait. I mean, 2.5 weeks for a custom piece is pretty good in the art standard, I like to think. I hand decorate every envelope. I add all of the paw prints and all of the tape. And that's like one of my favorite parts. And then I always provide a personalized thank you message to my clients. I try and keep it fresh and make sure that nobody receives the same message. And I try and keep it genuine because I really am thankful that they're ordering this from me. And lastly, I'd like to think that fast replies make me different. I'm always doing business on my personal Instagram or my pet portrait page, which you saw a little bit ago. I actually just began that about a month and a half ago. So up until then, I was just doing business on my personal page. But that sort of segues into the things that need work. So even though it is really nice to just do business right away on my personal Instagram, sometimes it can be a little bit invasive when someone asks me for a portrait at 11 on a Saturday night, which I don't have to reply, but I feel like I should. So I do. So moving forward, yeah, it's a little too personal for me sometimes. So I'd like to be taken seriously as a business entity, I think, versus someone who's on Instagram who knows how to draw. And then, yeah, I think the next 2 points sort of go hand in hand, just growing my clientele and expanding past the hometown client bubble. So I can sort of, I guess, like grow my business and have it so more of like a well-oiled machine where I'm not thinking like, I hope these people share my stuff. I hope people aren't sick of seeing my, stuff in town, because everybody in my town has probably seen it by now. And then pricing. When I started this, I realistically asked myself what I would buy or how much I would charge. I'm sorry, how much I would spend on a pet portrait. And to me, it was $45. So that's just what I charged. So obviously my current target market is college-age students who have pets, but I'm afraid that is too low because when I started these, it took me about a half hour to do one, and now it can take me up to 3 hours depending on how hairy your dog is. So that is definitely something that needs work. So for me personally, I'm moving out in September to Michigan, and with everything going on, job searching has been kind of funky. So it would be really nice to have a consistent income from this business and know that I can rely on it to bring in, money every month. So far it has done that, but again, I don't know if people in Delavan, where I live, have, seen enough, or, if I've gotten a pet portrait out to everyone who's wanted one. So expanding that market would be really nice. And then in the future, obviously, like I said, I love illustration. So being able to develop a self-sustaining business where, I'm making passive income from my illustrations, I think that would be really helpful. So I think nailing that and getting that down in this business will really help me moving forward, and understanding like how to do that in the future with other business ideas. So these are my questions for you. How can I set myself apart even more from my competition when I do become more of a business entity versus, just Emily, where people know me? How can I expand my business and gain more clients on and off of Instagram? I think staying on Instagram obviously is a good idea because I have a base there, but something like a website or having a place where people can order things by themselves, I think would be really helpful. So if anyone knows any good website platforms where I could start, that would be fantastic. Then how do I avoid lowballing myself, but ensuring that I'm not setting my prices too high? So I obviously want to make money, but I don't want to turn people off to buying a pet portrait if my prices are like ridiculous. And then should I pivot my target market, and if so, to who? I'm sorry if I talk really fast, but just so excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Emily. We'll open it up to Q&A now. So either ask the questions that you might have for Emily, or you can feel free to kind of respond to some of these questions that she's got here. I think we've got a really good knowledge base in our audience today, so we should be able to kind of hit some of these. Phil dropped in the chat for Emily, who is the competition in this space locally and regionally? It seems like a very niche market and may not have a ton of competition. So who's your primary competition right now?
I think I see a lot of competition on Instagram when I'm reposting hashtags for people to find my page. I have a lot of pet portrait pages liking my stuff, which is really nice of them, but they are competition. So I think Delavan wise, where I live, like you said, I'm probably one of a handful of people who actually does it locally, but on the web or, on the app of Instagram, I think it's pretty popular. So I guess it's wherever you go, but.
Excellent. And I would probably imagine there are some like digital services where you just upload it and it kind of spits out the digital image for you. It's not necessarily personal. So Anne has a question here.
So hi, Emily. Thank you so much for presenting. It was just really fun. We haven't had one exactly like this or even close to it. So you did a great job, and congrats on all your early business success. I really see why you've had success. I mean, wow, the quality. I'm not an artist like you are, and I don't even have a pet right now, but the quality is amazing. And so I haven't done research in this space or anything, but just a few comments. I would highly encourage you to raise your prices. It really needs to be value pricing. And so what is the value to others more than thinking about, well, your time and your materials and things like that. I do realize it's tricky. Pricing is really tricky, but I don't think in your space, it hurts to do some experimenting. You don't want to change all the time, but most people end up trying to find out where is that sweet spot, and you won't find that by staying at one price that may be lower. And I heard you say you turn down some business, or you can be a little picky about how many per month. So I would just encourage you to experiment with that a little bit. It seems to me that you could get a lot more, and you're including shipping. And you mentioned Delavan, that your clients are there, but really you're selling to people, I imagine, across the US through Instagram. So I don't know, just again, I haven't done research on this, but just my sense is that you probably have a large market out there. So great job, and I'll let others chime in with maybe more specific advice for
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate that.
You bet.
Laura has her hand up here.
I'll also echo the pricing thing. So I see that you have it broken down for quantity. And I was kind of curious why you decided to do that, and the discount for purchasing more doesn't seem like there's as much of an advantage to you. Like it doesn't take you necessarily less time to do the second one or the third one as it is to the person who's purchasing it, unless they're smaller, or you can expand on that too. But yeah, I would increase all of those and then also decrease the amount of discount that they're getting for the second and third. You know, maybe give them 5 or 10 off, but not what it becomes is like, you know, 30
Right.
or 40.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point. To be honest, I feel like I started this, like I literally decided the prices like the night where I was like, hey, everybody, message me if you want one. And it was so random. And I sort of did it from a place of desperation because it's like, I'm just graduating from college. Like, I just want some, you know, I just need somebody here. So I feel like I definitely didn't think about that long term. And it does, you know, now that I've been in it and I'm spending the same amount of time on, you know, per portrait for the same 3, you know. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think that's a great point. Yeah, not as high of a discount. Thank you.
But no shame in the pricing. You always start somewhere, and I think you just need people like this to just always say, yep, increase it. I have like work with this too. So
Awesome. Thank you.
There's some good discussion going on in the chat here too, Emily. Patricia says, stop into Artisan Forge Studios when you're in town so that you can chat with her. She's kind of got some ideas. And she also asks, are you on Shopify at all?
I am not on Shopify.
Yeah. So that's one consideration for you. And then there's a lot of chat right now about pricing. So Beth said, as to pricing, you may want to consider what is worth your time. How much per hour is it worth to you to produce these portraits? And then someone else said, yeah, Aaron White said, I'd echo Beth's comment on pricing. Many small businesses base their pricing on their hourly wage they make at work or something comparable. So figuring out what your hourly is and then kind of taking that to factor into your prices. And Phil says time and materials, it's and to make sure you consider all of that, not just the time. Like it obviously costs you money for postage, it costs you money for your branding and your notes and your everything that you're doing that makes it special and personal. So make sure that you're factoring those in as well. If there are other questions, feel free to raise your hand in the chat here. Oh, here we got Liz with something.
Hi, Emily. Great to see your work. Thank you very much for sharing. So I'm an artist too, and I'm with Pat at Artisan Forge Studios. And I again second that you come to visit our artist community here. We do have a great gallery and lots of interesting shops in our building. So I have 3 things here. So one, you were saying that you wanted to kind of get off the Instagram, stay on the Instagram, but expand, I should say, beyond that to show that you do more than just the drawing. And part of that would be to, yes, post your work to Instagram, but perhaps try to get a show in a coffee shop or a gallery or somewhere else. Like have you can even use some of the work that you've produced for clients and say, hey, can I borrow your piece, especially reach out to friends and family, folks that are closer to you first, and say, can I borrow this to put up in a coffee shop for 3 weeks? You know, get other exposure that way. And then you can also create some just ones for fun if you wanted to too, of like some birds or whatever direction you want to expand into. And then take photos of that and put that on your social media. And you can show folks, hey, I'm on social media, but I also get out into real life space and do shows. And that can also create some credibility and just expand what you're doing. We do have a gallery curator at Artisan Forge that you could reach out to if you wanted to display in our space. And I know that there's some coffee shops around Eau Claire too if you wanted to expand into our market. And then as far as the value and pricing system is concerned, yes, I always kind of say that starting a business and doing what you're doing in your artwork is kind of like learning a new language. You just have to kind of speak and try something, and pricing is definitely like that. There's always kind of a rough draft, and then you build up from there. And so what I would say is look into your competitors. You mentioned that your Instagram folks had liked your page. Go stalk them and see what they're doing as far as their pricing is concerned. Do they have a website? Like, learn from the other folks in your niche as to what they're doing, and then listen to what everyone else said as well as far as the pricing is concerned, and use that as a base, but also look at what other folks that are similar to you are doing. And then I also just wanted to give you a round of applause, because finding a niche with your artwork this soon after graduation is hard, and really, really amazing that you have done that. And so, yeah, I would say keep running with this and keep figuring out multiple ways you can get your work online. And I think the website is really good. Pat was right about Shopify is a good sales platform. Personally, I went to Weebly as a way to design my website as a kind of starter point. I felt like they had good templates and were run well. So those are some ideas. Thank you for presenting.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So a couple things in the chat. Hannah said, people are willing to pay a lot of money for art, and you offer custom art. Keep taking yourself seriously, and people will really respond to your talent. So I think that that's a really good suggestion, and a really kind of big part of your niche market is that you're offering custom art for them.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then Elaine also said, agreed with pricing, but also maybe waiting to increase your pricing when you expand that clientele is a good kind of plan for that. And your Instagram is great, but a suggestion would be to introduce yourself. Your personality will really help you in expanding, because people like to buy from people that they know. And so if your feed has a little personal info about you, your passion, your background, people will feel connected and for sure spread the word. So getting your face out there and kind of you being the head of that brand.
Awesome. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Aaron asked, have you looked at some type of partnering with other pet-related businesses like groomers, boarding folks, vets, or the like?
I have not. That is also very good. These ideas are fantastic. I have not, but I really like that idea.
Yeah, because I think about like when I got my dog from the shelter, I got a packet of coupons and things for PetSmart and for all the different places in Eau Claire. But if I had a QR code that I could scan to go to your Instagram to get a personalized pet portrait, I might take that up.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. Here's Laura.
So I wrote something down while you were talking, was having people come to your personal Instagram account and feeling like you need to respond. First of all, if you waited until business hours, people wouldn't think anything of it. So that's just like a boundary you could put in yourself. But my other recommendation, I'm a writer, freelance, so people come to me on different platforms, and I just have a standard response that I send to people on LinkedIn that says, like, thanks for reaching out, please go to my form, and just directing everybody to the same form or to your business Instagram. And you could just draft that in your notes or whatever, and then copy and paste it if somebody sent it to you on your personal. Something that kind of makes it a little bit faster to respond, and it's consistent, and you're funneling everybody into the same place.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I'll definitely be doing that.
Are you currently doing anything to kind of track your customers, or is it all just in your Instagram DMs?
Yeah, so I do track those things pretty closely. Yeah, I should have mentioned that.
Excellent. I'm not seeing any other hands raised in the chat or hands raised in participants if there are any other questions. I know that Beth also dropped in the chat that you should consider maybe doing puppy portraits and really targeting new owners for that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm writing everything down after this.
Awesome. And I will get you this recording so that you can rewatch it for all the feedback.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions. Just want to check Emily's questions and see.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry, I totally broke the rules. Oh, what an idiot. Okay, sorry. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Ben.
Nice job. I just, first of all, congratulations on all of your success. Like when you told me that you were doing this and here's where you were, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? So it just happened so quickly and organically. And I think it's a testament to all the good work that you do. As you move forward with this, you have my contact info, so you can get a hold of me if needed. But I just think it's important for you to, once you, kind of like what Laura was saying, once you establish what you want, your boundaries and what you want this to look like, to actually stick to it. Because you had mentioned even with the payment thing, you're like, hey, what payment works for you, Venmo or PayPal? And what if somebody comes back and says, I want to write you a check? Like, it just gets messy after a while. So your job will be to create a system that works for you, that's efficient and effective. Because you can't go to Target and like check out in the back of the store. Like you get your stuff and you go to the front, right? So you have to make your systems and then stick to it, and it'll help you in the long run for sure. But good job, and thanks for doing
Thanks,
this.
dude.
I got desperate trying to find somebody.
Yeah.
Good job, seriously.
Thanks, dude.
Laura here has her hand up again.
Okay, one last thing. I was rereading your questions for you. So one thought about target market. If you're targeting college students, obviously their budget's a little different. But one idea is that you could target parents of college students being sent to college with like a gift of your pet on your wall, I think would be fun. And that group of parents, like they're willing to drop $75, $100, something more as like a gift, but you're still targeting like the student is who wants it, and that's who you're creating the art for, but the person who's buying it has more buying power.
Wow. Yeah, that is a great idea. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that that's a really great suggestion, and especially kind of maybe as they're going off to college as a graduation present. So thinking about time of year that you're really setting those target markets up and really anticipating when they're going to be buying things.
Mm.
All right. Well, it doesn't. Patricia also said in the chat, people who have recently lost a pet would also potentially appreciate a memorial image of them. It's another thing to consider.
Yeah, I have had a few of those. It's, I guess, like the good thing about pets is like people are always getting them, or like, I mean, this isn't a good thing about it, but like the demand is always there, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good point.
Emily, have you ever had any bad experiences with customers or negative feedback that, or situations that haven't quite gone so well, and how have you kind of handled those and ironed out the kinks with them?
Everybody I've had has been very nice. I think I have had one client, I think it's pretty obvious that I'm not like the most assertive person, and I definitely need to work on that if I'm going to be a small business owner. But she just kept on asking, like, can my dogs have these types of collars, and can we have a beach in the background, and can we have sunflowers with their names in them? And I was like, yeah, let me think about it. So we compromised. But again, I think setting boundaries and just saying, nope, sorry, I don't do the backgrounds. Sorry, like I just use the photo that you give me. That's about it. Like if you are looking for something like that, here's a great artist that does that. I should have taken that route, but instead I was like, I did the beach in the background. I did the beach. There were no sunflowers, but I did do the beach. So setting boundaries is important for me, which I know I have to work on. So.
And when that happened, did you adjust pricing at all, or did you just kind of roll it into what she was paying already?
I did adjust the pricing. It wasn't by a lot because, again, I think being taken as a business, taking more seriously as a business entity versus like a person. The person at the time was like, hey, I don't have like the finances to pay X, Y, and Z. So, but again, it's like you don't go to Target and tell the cashier that, you know what I mean? So, I adjusted the price a little bit. It wasn't what it should have been, but I mean, it was business in my mind at the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's all part of the learning of being a smart business owner.
Yeah,
Liz.
absolutely.
Yeah, just to speak to that, Emily, I would say that's why a lot of folks do have the facts or question and answers on their websites and stuff too. You can try to learn. I mean, we've all done that as artists in the beginning, trying to figure things out, me included. But you learn from those, and then, you know, I kind of have a mental list of all those situations where I can put it to paper to try to preempt things.
Mm-hmm.
And then that can be on the website, and you can then direct them to there as well. And so if they start rolling those questions off, you can say, please reference this on my site. It's already kind of laid out what we do offer. And then if you really feel like someone is asking for something that isn't in your wheelhouse, don't be afraid to say, hey, this other artist over here is going to fit you better, because trust me, I've tried to bend over backwards for some customers and you end up just shooting yourself in the foot. And then they usually end up unhappy and you're really unhappy. So it's just best, if it is seeming like it's out of what you do, to just say, hey, go look over there. And then they still value your business because you gave them a good referral. But then at the same time, you're still able to maintain profitability and do what you are good at, which is another reason I said, yay, that you have your niche. We've talked about this a lot in our group here, that the more you can niche and the more you can kind of put those guidelines on things, really the easier it's going to be. And I think the more successful it will be.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. So Becca also asked in the chat, have you ever looked at Etsy as a sales platform?
No, I have not.
Yeah,
I actually heard of that.
You haven't heard of Etsy?
Oh, I thought it was like, it was like Etsy or something like that. It sounds a lot like Etsy. No, yes, I have heard of Etsy.
Okay. Yeah, that could seem like kind of a good fit for this type of art that you do. So.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So the last question that we always ask of all of our presenters is, what can we as a community do for you?
Well, I think if you know anybody who would be, I put all of my information down here at the bottom, my Instagram, and then my pet portrait Instagram, and my email. Just spread the word if you can.
So thank you again, and we'll see you all next week.